Hi everyone, very warm welcome to our homework review video. We're going to be going through the CEM Year 5 Week 2 exercises that you had to do. I'm going to be focusing on the English tasks, the closed passages, some of the comprehension. There is a separate video that will also go through your maths tasks as well. But if you're watching this video, hopefully you're here to check all of the English work that you had to do for Week 2. You won't be able to see me during these videos, but you'll be able to hear me. And I'll be walking you through each of those individual tasks. So let's make a start. And as you can see, we've got Billy the bookworm down in the bottom corner, but just a reminder of what this video is about. So it's really a homework review, just an opportunity for you to check your homework, see how you got on. And I'll start by going through what we had to do. So if we have a little look here, I'm actually focusing on the You Must tasks, and we're going to be looking at Test 8 in your verbal reasoning book, your CEM verbal reasoning book, your Test 9, so it does say the page numbers here, so be easy to follow, page 28 to 30, Test 8, and then we'll be looking at 31 to 34 for Test 9, and then we'll be looking at a different book, closed book. I'll show you the books in a moment, and we're going to go from 19 to 28, so we'll be marking all of that work that you've hopefully done. If you have done the You Could, great. If you could ask your mums and dads or your guardians to check that through for you, but we're just focusing on the You Must tasks for Week 2. Okay, what are the books? Well, here are the two books that we need. So we need the verbal reasoning. Some of you may not have comprehension written on the front, but don't worry, it is the same book. And also the closed passages, we're going to be having a look at some of those tasks as well. So we're going to start off by looking at this CGP book here, and we're going to be looking at Test 8. Test 8. So if you can make sure that you find Test 8 in your book. If you can't remember where that is, just a reminder, that is on page 28. Page 28. So what you had to do here is you had to choose from 4 words and make the sentence and the passage make sense. And I always sort of recommend to sort of read beyond the gap here. So I'm just going to read it out to you and you can check it as you go down through. Running is an inexpensive and accessible way of keeping fit. The only equipment you need is a pair of suitable running shoes. Not only can running help in losing weight, it can also improve psychological health and increase life expectancy, and develop strength in joints and bones. However, there are risks. Runners can experience pain and injury, often due to improper technique or an insufficient warm-up. Running too far or too frequently can also make runners more susceptible to injury. So hopefully you've checked those first 9. There is a little bit of extra in a moment. So what we would suggest as you go down through, and you heard me read out the words that you should have chosen, you can check them off, okay? And then the last part, the body needs time to recover from exercise, so novice runners, sort of beginner runners, in particular, are advised to rest regularly and increase their distance gradually to reduce the possibility of injury. If you check 10, 11 and 12, what you can just write after you've done that first bit of marking is how many out of 12 you managed to get. Let's move on to the next part now. And the next part was actually looking at odd ones out. So what we've got to work out here is why they are the odd ones out. So on 13, we've got fillet, and the reason that's the odd one out is because all our cooking methods, roast, bake and fry. So again, if you got that right, give it a tick. On 14, it's forethought. The other 3 are things that happen after an event, so a consequence, a debrief or the aftermath. They would happen after the event. Number 15 is upgrade. All the other ones mean to move to a lower rank or position. Demote, declass, relegate. Number 16 is listeners. Viewers, spectators and onlookers are the ones that go together. All the others mean to sort of watch something, whereas listening is obviously different. Number 17, we've got transport, carry, car and ship. The others mean to move from one place to another. Okay? To ship something, not just the noun, but to ship it, to transport, to carry it. So car is the one that you didn't require. Well done if you managed to get all 5 of those correct. Again, you can just put a little score out of 5 in your books, and then it'll be easy then when you add them up at the end. Then we had to insert the letters. These were synonyms, so we had to find the word that means the same as the word on the left. So we've got soul as in lone, empty and vacant, witness and observe, and sly and cunning. So again, if you just want to put out of 4 how many of those you got, really a case of using the letters to guide you a little bit on those. Then we've got the last part of test 8. You need to find the word that means the same as both. So on 22 we've got graze, because graze can mean to feed on or to brush against. So hopefully you knew the answer to that. Defect can mean a fault, or also to break from a group. If you defect from a group, then you abandon them or you desert them, you come away from them. 24 is novel. Novel can be like an original thing, a novel idea, and then a book or a story is a novel as well. And then we've got attribute. So an attribute is can mean to assign, cause or blame, or a characteristic, an attribute of someone. Number 26 is exploit, and that goes with both, because exploit can mean an achievement or to take advantage of. So out of 26, if you put your score down there, okay, and then you can go to your progress grid, which is in the back of your book, and record down for test 8 how many you got right. Let's move on to test 9 now. Now this was all about Concorde, and this was a non-fiction piece, and it contained a lot of statistics as you were to read down through that. What we would suggest here is that we'll go down through the answers and tell you what they are, but this was very much about coming back to the text as well and checking what your answers actually were, so that's really, really important. Okay, so let's have a look at the first one. When did commercial Concorde flights begin? Well, it's got 4 options or 4 dates, but the passage states that Concorde retired from the skies in 2003 after 27 years of commercial flights. So 27 years before 2003 is 1976. So it's all about using that information from the text. So what we would certainly suggest here, and if I just highlight it for you, you can see where that information comes from. So we've got 2003 after 27 years of commercial flights. So that's the bit of maths that you need to do there. Number 2, which of the following statements must be true? And the answer is 2B. The text states that Concorde could exceed the speed of sound and that its maximum speed was 1,350 miles per hour. Okay. And the speed of sound must be below this speed. So the speed of sound is less than. So again, if we just go back to the text and see where it talks about that, yeah, with a maximum speed of approximately 1,350 miles per hour. So that's the maximum, so it must be lower than that. Number 3, in 1992, what was Concorde's flight time record for the journey from New York to London? Now, the text says that Concorde set a record of 2 hours, 52 minutes and 59 seconds in 1996, and that this improved on the 1990 record by 90 seconds. Therefore, in 1992, the record was still the time set in 1990, 90 seconds longer than 1996 time, which is 2 hours, 54 minutes and 29 seconds, and that's why it's A. So again, all about going back and looking really, really carefully at the text and picking out that really important information. Okay, just highlighting there some of the numbers that you needed to pick out. And number 4, which of these statements cannot be true? That's the important bit here. And the answer is 4B. The passage states that Concorde sometimes had to reduce its speed when flying over land. Therefore, it cannot be true that Concorde had to maintain a constant speed from takeoff to landing. Okay. Then let's have a look at the next questions. We've got number 5 was D. When could Concorde not fly supersonically while it was over land? So that's 5D. And the text states that Concorde had to reduce its speed when flying over land. Let's just go back and see if we can find evidence of that. Yeah, here we are. Reduced speed when flying over land. So well done if you got that one right. Number 6, how many Concorde aircraft were never used for commercial flights? Had to do a bit of maths here again. Text says that 20 Concordes were built and that France and England took 7 each for passenger flights, which is 14 in total. The text also says that the others were used only as prototypes, which would mean 6 weren't used for passenger flights. So there we go, there's 6. Number 7, according to the text, what caused Concorde to be removed from service? Well, it became too expensive because spiralling maintenance cost. So again, if we go back to the text, it talks about spiralling. Here we are. spiralling maintenance costs. In other words, the money to actually maintain them became too expensive. So there we are. Those are the answers to those first 7. So what you can do again is you can just put in a mark out of 7. Okay, hopefully you managed to get most of those right. Let's have a look at 12 now, and we're going to have a look at the reshuffled sentences. And the answer to question 8 was brought, and the sentence should have been, the waiter took a long time to bring their food. Okay, the waiter took a long time to bring their food. Number 9 was they. His friends wanted to walk through the snow. That was the sentence there. Number 10, we've got she wanted to have a big breakfast before the race. She wanted to have a big breakfast before the race. So which was the word that we didn't require there. Number 11 was morning, and the sentence should have been, they said she was out at the time. They said she was out at the time. Number 12, we've got those, and the sentence should have been, he tends to get this type of thing right. So well done if you got that sentence reordered correctly. And number 13 is, and the sentence was, they want to know how it happened and why. And number 14, we've got expect, and the sentence was, she noticed that the city was busier than usual. Another way of starting, of course, with the pronoun, which is often a good way of getting started. So again, tick those through. If you've got them correct, you can go down through, just tick them off. Okay. So we had 4 on that page, 3 on that page, so that was actually out of 7. So again, you can put your score down. Easier then to add up. And then we've got opposite in meaning. So we've got clear and cryptic. Cryptic means when something is a bit confusing. So these are opposites. Again, it's important you remember you're doing opposites. Real and counterfeit. Counterfeit meaning not authentic. Okay, like counterfeit money. Planned and spontaneous. When something's spontaneous, it sort of occurs on impulse. You don't think about it. It's not planned. Number 18 is delectable and disgusting. Delectable means delicious. Immoral and ethical. Immoral means without morals, of course, but ethical means in accordance with morals. Thrive, we've had that in our spellings this week. Thrive and wither. Wither means when something declines, certainly in terms of flowers. When they wither, they tend to sort of die. So out of 20, you can put your score there. Go to the back of your book again and record down your score for that test. Now we're going to have a look at test 6, but we're actually going to be jumping to another book now. So you are going to now have a little look at your closed book. Okay, so you're going to need to go to your closed book now, and we are looking at page 19 to 28. So we are looking at page 19 to 28. So please make sure you're in the right place in your closed book. So just as a reminder, just in case you've got a bit confused, it's this book here. Okay, it's the closed book that we're looking at now. Okay. So let's just make sure we go back to the right one. Here we go. So what you'll notice here is how to put in the letters to finish the words off. So if I just read the words out to you. So, or I'll actually read the sentence so it makes sense. Bats are the only mammals that can fly. Steve knew it was difficult to become an astronaut. 3, the elderly man had misplaced his glasses. Emma was helping to conserve the Honduran rainforest. Number 5, each tiger has stripes that are specific to that individual. My village has just won a tug of war contest. Gina is able to speak fluent French. The council strongly objected to the proposed supermarket. The family decided to abandon their original plan and eat out. And Kate thought the bookshelf would be sturdy enough to stay up. Sturdy sort of as in strong. Obviously with these it's really important that you've got the right letters, because if you get any letters wrong, I'm afraid you don't get the mark. So as you go down through, you're really checking your spellings thoroughly. And then yes, you can go down and as always, hopefully giving it a tick. If you get it wrong, just put a dot, okay? But if you've got it right, you can give it a nice tick, okay? Okay, then we move on to the next part. This is where you have to underline the word to complete the passage, okay? So what I'll do is I'll read this down through with the right words in there. If you're bored with holidays in hotels, you should consider camping. The modern world is full of distractions, and camping offers a break from them. Camping is a good way to lose yourself in nature and unwind. One of the many highlights of camping is the campfire. You can make some delicious meals by cooking on an open fire with smoky flavours, enhancing a variety of food. Communal cooking also allows people to come together. Everyone pitches in to get the food ready. With respect to cooking outdoors, make sure the grass is not charred by barbecues. Litter is also an important issue. Plastic and glass containers so we're going to move on to the next bit. So what you can do is pause here. Charred means burned, if that was a new word to you. But again, as you see each individual one, and hopefully you've chosen the right word and you've been underlining the words, you can tick it off. But this sentence does sort of carry on to the next page. Just read it again. Plastic and glass containers can contribute to environmental problems. Experiencing nature and life among the trees is a key part of camping, so it is necessary to respect your surroundings. People like to go on walks and along secluded paths. They often don't meet anybody for miles. Birds and other animals can almost always be spotted, so it's worth dedicating some time to the world around you to see what you can find. So again, as you go down through, hopefully you've been choosing the right word. Walks are also a great way to burn off some energy, and they can tire you out to the extent that when you return to camp, you'll be ready for a good rest. There's more to camping than you may think, so why not give it a try? And again, go down through, check those ones, and then you can actually mark that one out of 25. Just as with the other book, there is a progress grid in the back, and it's a really good idea to track your progress in your books. What we've got here is we've got another closed passage, and this actually is test 7, and you can see as you go down through I've added in all the right letters, so again hopefully it all makes sense and you can go down and double check. So what I would do certainly with these is pause the video and you can go down and see how many of them you got right. Remember, the spellings is really important. So as you go down through each line, okay, the sentences are all about the same thing, but again, you can read it down through. Make sure you read beyond the gap to give you a little clue. Okay, it's all about the Chilean island, that one, Easter Island. Now, what we've got here is the hidden 3-letter word. So with these ones, what we're going to do is ask you to double check that the 3-letter word, of course, goes into these words in capitals and it makes that sentence make sense. So the first one, 3 boats had been washed out to sea by the storm. So if we were to spell the word washed and we cross out the letters that they gave us, so they gave us a W, you can see here they gave us an E, they gave us a D, and then we get ash. So that would be the answer. So it's really about reading the sentence, and that should give you a clue to what that word is. Okay. So what I would suggest is, again, pause the video, go down through, double check, make sure you know what the word is, tick them off as you go, just making sure that you know what those words should have been. Okay. So I'll just read out what the words are. So fallen, planting, computer, growing, committed, farmer, and nailed. But again, the sentence will give you a clue to what that should be. So well done if you managed to get all of those right. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 there. So again, you can put a score out of 8 if you manage to get those right. We've got a few more here. So spotted is the first one. Boiling. Dinner. Golden. So out of 25, again, you can put your results. And then we've got just one more test. Apologies about the next one because I actually had to take a photo of this because the scanning wasn't so good. But hopefully you can see here the words that come from the top. I've put in the letters just so you can easily double check. And obviously reading it all down through, I think it was all about foxes, that one. But again, just double check each line. If you've got any wrong, see if you can work out why. Did it not make sense in the sentence? Just go down through and double check. We've got another closed passage here. Okay, so again, you can go down through and double check. So looking at the ones that are in purple, those are the words that will make those sentences make sense. If you chose any of the others, unfortunately, they wouldn't quite read correctly. And that's the other page there. So if I perhaps just read this one down through for you. We set sail 3 days ago with the hope of reaching the coast that evening. Unfortunately, due to a spell of bad weather, we had to reduce our speed considerably. This caused plenty of problems as our food stocks rapidly declined, which forced the entire crew to start rationing whatever was left. While I believe I coped quite well with the hunger pangs, the rest of the crew struggled. The captain became incredibly annoyed at the slightest fault or problem. Fights broke out on deck between former friends. The ship was at first a symbol of hope and adventure, had become an omen on the sea. A black spot of death hung over every one of us. If we did not return to land soon, we would descend into madness. Last night, for example, we thought we had spotted a ghost on the horizon. It took several moments for us to realise that we were imagining things, and as the white light slowly changed, we saw the outline of a lighthouse. Relieved, everyone looked over to the land in good spirits. And that's the end of that test. And again, would ask you to put down a score out of 25. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and useful. And what we would suggest certainly is going back through and recording those results, and you can then track your progress. If there were ones you got wrong, please don't hesitate to ask us, whether that's in the live sessions or maybe even the Q&A sessions as well. Okay, take care of yourselves. Thanks very much. Bye.